Hello, everybody. This is Lewis Speaks 2020, and today I want to talk to you about growing up as a child of an alcoholic. Growing up as a child of an alcoholic, you oftentimes deny your reality. You're told that what you're feeling is wrong, what you're feeling is inaccurate, your suspicions unfounded. You're constantly dismissed, disregarded, and told that you and how you feel are just incorrect. You're basically manipulated and gaslighted. And this morning, I woke up very enraged. I woke up enraged because I was reading this article about empaths and how they're very hypersensitive. And I was thinking, I am an empath. How did I get to be so hypersensitive? I was always taking care of the needs of my mother. For a long time, my mother struggled with alcohol. And even to this day, she struggles with alcohol. Let her tell it, she doesn't have a problem with alcohol. She can stop at any time, blah, blah, blah. But she does have a problem with alcohol. And growing up in that environment was painful. We always had to live, both my sister and I, we always had to live at the pulse of my mother's drinking, so much so we forgot we had a pulse. We forgot ourselves. We always had to anticipate whether she was angry or drunk or upset or would fly off into a depressive episode because she was coming down off the alcohol. So we always had to be the caretakers. Here's some soup, Mom. Here's some this. Are you okay, Mom? Had to be the little counselors. It's a parent's job to raise their children. It's not a children's job to raise their parents. And I realized that when you grow up with emotionally immature parents, my father, he was also emotionally immature, but he didn't stay in the picture. He left when I was 3 years old. So basically, he left when I was 3. He told my mother before he left, according to what my mother says, she said that he said before he left that he's not giving up his life for us because when we get older, we won't give up our lives for him. And that right there showed what a terrible parent he was. What an awful fucking parent he was. How dare you say that to someone raising your child? Taking care of your seed. You're going to leave because your children won't be there to tend to your every need. What he failed to realize is that it's not a child's responsibility to take care of their parent. It's a parent's responsibility to take care of their child, to make sacrifices for their child. Their child is not charged with that responsibility, with the obligation to make sacrifices. No. See, growing up, I was always told, quote, you didn't have me, I had you. My mother used to always tell me that, which means that she's the parent and I'm the child. I'm the one that gets taken care of, okay? The parent is the one that takes care of. That's their role. When I become a parent, I know that I'm going to have to sacrifice so many things. I know that I'm going to have to give up so many things. Now, granted, my mother, she didn't plan on raising both my sister and I as a single parent. I understand that. At the same time, when you take on that responsibility and you claim to love your child, that should be a natural response to wanting to take care of your child. And not wanting to take care of your child when it's convenient or when you want to look like the saintly mother or when you want to provide this impression. No. It's about taking care of your child, providing a nest egg for your child, building a legacy for your child so that way they don't have to struggle so hard. I just woke up today very enraged because I'm thinking that I was not raised with the tools I needed to survive. And that's why I went down so many dark roads. That's why, I struggle in relationships even today because I'm so busy putting my needs on the back burner. I'm so busy anticipating the needs of others that I don't even know what I need. I don't even know what I need anymore. You know? And then the article I read today said oftentimes empaths struggle in relationship to really get in close knit relationships because oftentimes that hypersensitivity causes them to be overstimulated. And that overstimulation causes them to seek refuge in being alone and being in places like the woods and nature where they can kind of put it all together. And that is so true. That is so true. You know, oftentimes when I'm in the company of others, I do feel overstimulated. I feel like there's so many demands being placed upon me, so many obligations, you know, so people want too much from me. You know, I feel like they're just taking chunks of me. They like me because I'm a good listener. They like me because I do this for them, or they like me because I do that for them. They don't like Lewis for Lewis. And so I get away from them because I just realize that they just want to use me for what I can give to them. They have no interest in who I am, you know? And I'm just like, I'm wondering, how did this all happen? And then you go back into your childhood and you realize that, you know, you just were not raised the way you should have been raised. And I believe like everybody has that experience. Everybody has that moment in their life when they look back at their past trying to find answers as to why they are the way that they are. And when you actually go back into your past and you start to unpack that bag, you get angry. You cycle through emotions. You go through the cycles of grief, you know? First, you go through denial. You deny that you were ever hurt. Then when you actually move past that, you get angry because you start to realize you were in fact hurt. Then you start to bargain, hoping that, you know, maybe if the hurt can go away, maybe if this can happen, then, you know, things will be different. Then you feel depressed. You feel depressed because how could you have let that happen to yourself? And although you were young and just trying to keep yourself safe, you just feel very depressed because of the things that you allowed yourself to go through. And then finally, after you cycle through the depression, you move on to the acceptance and the coming to terms phase, where you actually just realize you did the best you could. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. As a child, you didn't have the language to describe what was happening to you. Now you do. So now when you know better, you do better. You know, but I just also feel like this, you know, there's still patterns that are continuing with my mother that I don't really like. You know, the lying about the drinking, the misrepresentation, the manipulation, you know, the not respecting people's boundaries. You know, these things continue to go on. And I'm just to the point where, you know, I'm to the point where I just have to keep myself safe. You know, I'm back in that child's place, trying to keep myself safe. You know, I realized that, you know, growing up and what contributed to me being empathic was the fact that I had to always anticipate my mother's needs. I had to anticipate her moods. And I did all that to keep myself safe. Now, that was my mother's job to keep me safe. But she was in a danger zone. You know, growing up, I grew up in a danger zone. I grew up in a war zone. You know, there was always some emotional landmine that I had to be careful not to step on, or else mom would become over emotional. She would get angry. She would get abusive. And that's the truth. And when I try to tell her these things, she gets tearful. Enter the crocodile tears, enter the, I did the best I can, I was a single mother. And then you find yourself feeling guilty for your feelings. But I'm not guilty for my feelings. I stand behind my feelings 100%. I know that people will never give me the validation that I need in order to, I guess, honor my truth. They'll never tell me what I need to know in order to keep myself safe. They'll never say, yes, Lewis, you were right. You were abused. You were abused. No one's ever going to say that. They're going to justify, they're going to blame, they're going to shirk responsibility. I don't expect my mother to really acknowledge my feelings, but I acknowledge my feelings. I know what really happened. And so now I'm charged with the responsibility to heal and to keep myself safe and not to ever let anything like that happen to me ever again. Because now I love myself. Now I trust myself. Now I trust my intuition. And I know that anytime something does not feel right for me, then it isn't right for me. And I need to take the steps, the action steps, in order to keep myself safe. And this is difficult. This is a very, very difficult process. Unpacking this bag. You feel feelings of guilt. You feel feelings of shame. And you definitely have to just cycle through those feelings because you were hardwired to feel those things. Growing up, you were always scolded and shamed every time you told someone about your experience. So this is why you feel those feelings. But I'm breaking the ice. And it's painful, but it's necessary. So I encourage everybody out there, as you do your work, you'll definitely feel some discomfort. You'll definitely feel some pain, but you have to continue to journey forward, on your quest to try to find the real you. Because at the end of the day, you are going to be what's left when everybody decides to leave. So you have to take care of you. So this is Lewis Speaks 2020, wishing everybody a safe and loving journey. Peace.